What is good? What is up? It's Jordan or Texans Thoughts, and we're back with another live stream. What's up, everyone in the chat? Today we got a great special guest. I've been very excited to bring this one to y'all today. We got Zach Hicks joining us today on the stream. Thank you, Zach, for taking time out of your day to join us and talk about football. How you doing? How's your Monday going?
It's going all right. Not too bad. Excited to talk some Texans stuff. Colts guy here got run the damn ball going here. So yeah, we're
You had to support. I was gonna do a whole lot, but all right. Can we get a little fuck the Colts in the chat? I mean, we're gonna be kind to Zach though. Fuck the Colts, but it's not Zach's fault that he's following the Colts. I mean, come on. We can't hate him. We can love him, the person, because he's a smart guy, but we can still say fuck the Colts. What's up, everyone in the chat? Yeah, we talked about this before, but I know we were planning on talking about Matt Eberflus a while back. Then the Texans they're gonna Texans, right? So, but today we're gonna, you are a Colts fan, but you're also just a great expert and a great mind in football, and I think you can send some insight for us on Lovie Smith's defensive scheme, because it is something similar that Matt Eberflus runs. They are Tony Dungy disciples, right? So you can kind of he's gonna be our expert there to help us for that today. All right, what FTC we got in the chat? There you go. We got a Colts guy here.
I tweeted it, so all my Colts guys are coming.
Thank you. Appreciate that. There's a lot of snow down in Texas. Hopefully, before we get into this, I want to say hopefully everyone's staying safe. I know a lot of people don't have their power right now. Hopefully you and your family stay safe. But if you're here, let's enjoy. Let's talk ball. But yeah, before we get into this, maybe I'll give you guys a little bit of an intro to Zach. He's kind of like, my eyes behind enemy lines, I don't want to have Colts pop up on my timeline, but every time I do, I know it's coming from a good source. And so you're a great writer at Stampede Blue. You do a podcast as well with Blevin Colts. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, Believe in Colts.
Believe in Colts.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's our fancy way of saying believe. Yeah, that's what it is.
Oh, that just hit me. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, so you do that. You do a lot of great stuff over at Cover One as well. What really, I think, will impress a lot of people is obviously that you've gotten the pleasure to interview so many different players. I mean, it's really, really impressive what you've been able to do. Antonio Cromartie, some other names like Kenny Moore, Nyheim Hines.
I wish Kenny Moore. Not Kenny Moore yet.
Not Kenny Moore? I thought it was Kenny Moore.
I just my whole Twitter is filled with Kenny Moore stuff, so I understand assuming that one day, Kenny, if you're somehow watching this, please.
That's the dream.
But Nyheim Hines, Antonio Cromartie was fun, dude. That
blew my mind,
dude. The way it got set up was hilarious because it literally Antonio Cromartie tweeted something like "Ask me anything, questions, whatever." Mm-hmm. I commented and asked him about some certain cornerback technique. Step kick versus soft shoe. And one of my followers responded and was like, yo, Crow, you should talk about draft prospects with Zach.
Oh.
And he responded and was like, yeah, sure. And I followed him, called me back. I DM'd him and we got it set up. And yeah, dude, such a smart guy. We were I think we talked for like an hour straight. Oh my God, dude. I mean, the amount of knowledge that guy has, I mean,
he's really impressive.
He's trying to be a coach right now, either high school level or college level. He absolutely should be a coach somewhere, super, super smart guy. And he was really high on Jalen Johnson. Jalen Johnson was his guy. Jalen Johnson was my guy before that too. So we were really hitting off with that. But really high on Jalen Johnson. And look where that turned out. So he knows his stuff.
He definitely knows his stuff. It's definitely a guy to listen to. But definitely you guys check out Zach. A lot of great stuff. I put a lot of his links into the description. He also did an interview with Charles Omenihu when he was going through the whole draft process before he was a Texan. But I read that one today. It was actually a great one, talking about him. And it's funny, you actually asked him about like moving to that 4-3 and how he would see himself in a 4-3, because the Colts do run a 4-3. And so now with the Texans, he's definitely going to be more of the edge guy for us. And we got $5, Patty Storm. I'm sorry
because he interrupted there with that great chat there. We gotta take the storm back to Canada. You guys actually stole Charles Omenihu from the Colts.
You guys wanted him, huh?
Fun fact: Indy was gonna take him in that 5th round. I think you guys took him the 5th, right? Yeah, it was 5th.
Yeah, I was surprised he fell that far, but yeah, 5th.
Yeah, Indy was gonna take him if he fell to the Indy's pick, but you guys took him right before.
Thank God we did. Charles is a very talented player. And thank you, Pat, for the $5.
He's like a top 40 player. I don't know how he felt. You probably seen the article if you read it. I said like, oh, he's probably going to go in like the high second round area.
Yeah.
And then he fell all the way. That was shocking. I can't believe it.
It was shocking. I think how he was used at Texas was a little bit weird with that 3-man front, kind of not the best for him. So I think that's probably why he fell a little bit. But yeah, I think that's a good kind of transition to what I want to talk about. And with the Texans' new defensive coordinator being Lovie Smith, he's notorious for that Tampa 2 style. And he was really super successful with it with the Bears. I mean, they won a Super Bowl, so you know it can be successful. But I think nowadays it's gotten kind of a bad reputation. And part of that is for good reason, definitely. But part of that, I think it's still like a system that can be useful. And so with what you know with Matt Eberflus and the Colts, like he runs a similar type of system. Obviously, he's changed some things, but what can you tell us about kind of, you know, how what principles does it need to be successful?
Yeah, so when you're looking at the cover 2, you have to look at 2 aspects of this. Eberflus is more of a cover 2 type guy, which is your essential, your corners are in those mid zones. I'm trying to get the stuff mid zones here. And your linebackers are kind of across the middle here as well. You kind of have that line of defense with your cover 2, and then you have your 2 deep safeties. What the Tampa 2 does, if you guys aren't familiar, I'm just kind of breaking it down in simple terms here. The Tampa 2 takes that very basic principle of we have everybody across the line in that zones, and takes away the one thing that's going to beat it. Because if you look at this, if you have 2 guys up here, just 2 guys right here, and 4 guys, 5 guys across, how do you beat that? Well, you send 2 guys vertical up the side and 1 guy up the slot, and he's going to be open every single time. So what you do with the Tampa 2, what's completely different, is you take that Mike linebacker, and if you have anything going deep over the seam, going over the middle, that Mike linebacker is going to carry it. So that way you essentially turn your cover 2 into a cover 3. It's a great way to disguise it. And it was genius back in the day. I mean, when Tampa was doing that back in the 2000s, it was absolutely genius. But the reason why it failed, one, is because Gruden took over. Gruden took over. And the one thing that John Gruden is so notorious for is putting all his resources on offense. So this scheme can't work without talent on your defense.
Yep.
And what made Eberflus such a great coordinator, especially in 2018, because when you look at the Colts in 2018, they had nobody who could create pressure. There no singular player that could create pressure. But what Flus did is he brought in a lot of stunts, a lot of twists. The Kenny Moore blitz was introduced there, and you guys saw that in the playoffs that year.
Oh, don't talk about it, Zach. Don't do it to us.
So he introduced so many different aspects. And with Lovie, from what I know, what I've seen, he's never really been more than a vanilla type of guy with that. Now, when he has the talent, though, Lovie can be a great defensive coach. But what I love about the cover 2, I love about Tampa 2s and stuff, is it's very inverted from how you look at normal defense. Normal defense, you want your best players to be on the defensive end and the outside corners. That's how you win. That's how you lock it down. Now, with the cover 2 and with Tampa 2, you want everything to be on the inside. You want that 3-tech. You need a dominant 3-tech. Look at old Tampa, and you look at Warren Sapp back then. Warren Sapp was elite. You look at the Colts this past year, and you got DeForest Buckner.
He changed the game for y'all.
Yep, DeForest Buckner changed everything. Then you get to the second level, that will linebacker. Will linebacker needs to be someone who can fly around, can cover, can blitz, is one of your fastest and craziest dudes on the team.
Yeah.
Colts had Darius Leonard. The old Tampa, they had Derek Brooks. And then you get to the slot corner, guy who can kind of move around a little bit outside, who can move around inside and blitz a little bit. You got your Kenny Moore for the Colts and Rondé Barber for Tampa. And then you get to that deep safety. Colts were lucky to get Julian Blackmon this past year, who was outstanding.
Talented kid.
Yeah, really talented. Had a great year. And back then you had John Lynch. And I'm not saying the Colts, obviously those guys all don't compare to those Hall of Famers.
Same roles, yeah.
Yeah, the Colts had those roles, and they had top players in those roles. And that's kind of the big thing to make a cover 2 or a Tampa 2 run, is you need to have impact players in those roles. And I know the Texans have some players who can do that. Justin Reed, I think, is a really talented player who could be that impact safety. Bradley Roby is a good enough corner where I think he can be an impact kind of guy inside out.
I love him in the nickel. I think he'd be a lot better in the nickel.
Yeah, if you get him into that Rondé Barber, Kenny Moore type role, I think he can find much more success. But you just need that overall talent in those spots. And even while you build up those other spots, as long as you have those 4 with impact players, you can be very, very productive with this defense.
So would you say that the 3 tech is more important than like a premium edge rusher?
Yeah. I would say that. I mean, obviously, you want a premium edge rusher. That's what the Colts are going to go after this offseason. The Colts know they need one now because Buckner was the only one, getting consistent pressure. But they have the luxury to go after that because they have those other positions filled. 3 tech is big though in this because you need to get that quick pressure. The faster you get the ball out of the quarterback's hand, the faster you can converge and stop them short of the sticks. So. Yeah, that 3 tech is huge, especially for the run game too. They're going to get a lot of one-on-one blocks because your nose tackle is going to eat up, or your 1 tech can eat up 2 blocks at a time. Your 3 tech needs to beat those one-on-one blocks. So, getting a guy like DeForest Buckner was so big for the Colts, and it just changed that entire defense.
Definitely. I think you're right. There's some players that the Texans can hopefully fit to that mold, but there's also. I think getting a coverage linebacker and getting a 3 tech, like you said, that's definitely the biggest things. I think we'd be okay in the secondary. Justin Reed can stay up there, and he'd be really good in the 2 high. I would love to see Roby back move into the nickel because that's where he had his best success with Denver, right? Yeah. And then because he doesn't also have the ideal size you'd want on the outside for those cornerbacks. But in terms of guys in the trenches, I think Charles Omenihu. He's definitely going to be more into that 4-3 defensive end role. He's got the size, he's got the length, he's got some of the explosiveness that you need for that. But let's talk about free agents. I know a lot of people want us to talk about free agents because at the end of the day, we got some talent on the team, but we need to add more. That's definitely the biggest thing this season. We got to add more talent to the defense. And so talking about that Tampa 2 play style and kind of what we need. I think cover linebacker is definitely something that we need to go after in free agency. I think is one of our more underrated needs. And I've started watching the film of some of the free agents. And one guy, have you watched Alex Anzalone of the Saints?
I haven't.
You haven't? Okay.
Colts, I think, do need a coverage linebacker. And
that's what I was thinking. We kind of have some of the similar needs.
Yeah, they do, but I feel like that's more of a draft need for them. Going after that premium edge is big for them, and I think maybe another receiver or something. Those are more pressing, I think, for them. So they're not really. I don't think they're going to be in the free agent market for. I mean, they might be. Yeah, but I think they want to let Okereke see what he can do out there.
Yeah, he's got a lot of potential. Keep him and Leonard, and then I think Anthony Walker's a free agent, right? You guys are probably going to let him walk.
Yeah, he's going to walk. Good player, but it's kind of time to let Okereke step into that role.
That's fair. I guess we can talk about kind of some of the free agents that the Colts got, and obviously they're talented players for you guys. They could return for you guys. They also could come to the Texans, maybe. And so you guys got Danico Autry. He's one of my favorite guys. He's kind of like what we see in Charles Omenihu, where we can play him on rundowns as that base end, really strong run defender, and then kick him inside. That's where he's going to be more impactful in the pass rushing game as a 3-tech, like we were talking about. What do you see with Autry? Do you think he'd be a good fit in the Tampa 2 style for us, or do you see him returning to the Colts?
I do know the Colts have interest in bringing him back, and I think his market shouldn't be too bad. I think it's going to probably be around $5, $6, maybe $7 million a year at best.
Yeah,
I don't think it gets up that high. I think it's going to be around the 5 or 6. But yeah, he's a really good player. I mean, he was basically their Buckner before Buckner, and it's not like he was as good as Buckner by any means, but he was the guy they had in that role before Buckner came over, and he was solid. I mean, he had 10 sacks in 2018.
Yeah.
Like I said, for a team that couldn't generate pressure, he wasn't the exception to that. He couldn't really generate consistent pressure, but on those stunts and things where he could get, good opportunities, he could make some plays. So Autry's a really good player. I think you can start him at edge and then work him inside, or you can even full-time start him at 3-tech. That's what the Colts did in 2018. And 2019, they almost exclusively started him at 3-tech, and even though his sacks went down, he still had pretty good, amount of hurries and pressures. So, he's a very solid player, and if you need someone to kind of step in and just be a good baseline 3-tech for you who can get some pressure, that's the first guy you want to throw in there, because currently I don't think you guys have anybody really play that role outside of Omenihu full time, which would be, I think, a bit wearing on him.
I think so too. I think he might be better on the edge.
He's
And then
quicker.
occasionally kicking in as 3 tech. But yeah, we don't really have anyone on the roster. Defensive tackle is definitely a big need. We just drafted Ross Blacklock last year, 40th overall pick. So you kind of want to give him time, especially now that you're transitioning to a new defensive coordinator, new scheme. Hopefully they use him to his skill sets a little bit better than they used him this past year, because they had him 2-gapping a lot this year. And in TCU, he did a lot better when he was 1-gapping and shooting gaps, stunts, a whole lot of stuff. They used him very differently.
Which is what this scheme is. The scheme is very it's about penetration. It's about disruption. It's actually funny. It's like run defense. It's aggressive and getting you quickly and forcing losses. Where the pass defense, I wouldn't say it's like passive or anything, but it's more of we're going to funnel you short. That's what you want to do in the pass game. So it's kind of funneling you short in the pass game. But run defense in this game is super aggressive. It's that one-gap shooting, and you have to have athletes. And that's the biggest thing. Yeah. On this defense, you have to have athletes everywhere. I mean, you look at the Colts defense. I mean, there's not anyone. I mean, they have some bigger corners. They like to have the bigger corners because the bigger corners have to come up and tackle. But safeties are stellar athletes. Linebackers are elite athletes on the Colts.
Oh, crazy.
And their entire defensive line, especially on the interior. I mean, Grover Stewart's one of the freakiest athletes in the league, I think. I think he dropped down to like 310 this year, but he's a freak. And
it's rare that you find a 1-tech like him that holds up so well at the point of attack, but they can also is so athletic that he doesn't get reach blocked. Yeah, he's kind of crazy. His lateral quickness is
him and Buckner next to each other, because you want to double Grover typically, because Grover is this huge behemoth freak that can beat any single one block that you put on him.
Yeah,
but you can't single block Buckner. So then if you try to do duo and block both of them, then you leave Leonard free to so that's why the run defense was second in the NFL last year.
Yeah.
They had a couple rough games against the Titans, but everyone did. But besides that,
that's true.
Yeah. Well, I think one of them, Buckner, was out too. So, if you take away one of those hogs, it's tougher.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, that's what we're trying to say here, is that the Colts, we hate them, but they've shown us a great formula of success and how we need to rebuild our defense and make it fit Lovey's system, right? So definitely building in the trenches. That's something I'm gonna be preaching very strongly. Always build the trenches. Our defensive line, especially with JJ Watt getting mutually parting ways.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they wanted to call it. And then Whitney Merciless reportedly retiring soon this season. Although he's having some different thoughts, but we'll see. But that's a very likely possibility. So we definitely need to invest in the trenches. So in terms of free agents that we can look at, got my little cheat sheet here. And I know you've been talking about some of these guys too, but tell us about Romeo Okwara.
The NFL's best secret. That's what he is. Yeah. He's the NFL's best kept secret. I mean, what a year he had last year on one of the worst defenses in NFL history. It was
impressive.
This was an extremely atrocious defense with no talent. I mean, Okudah showed some things. I still like Tracy Walker a little bit at safety for them, but outside of that defense is decimated. It is awful. And Okwara ended up having his career year. He had 10 sacks, which was, I think, as much as he had in his entire career up to that point. But what the most impressive thing is, I believe he had 49 pressures or hurries or whatever. So according to Pro Football Focus advanced stats, so take it however you feel about Pro Football Focus, but I believe it was 49 pressures.
Yeah. On Pro Football Reference, they say 31. So I mean, depending on wherever you go, but it's an absurd amount for sure.
Yeah, and I think I remember I wrote something down with Okwara that he only had one game this year, I think, with if you accumulate his hits, hurries, and sacks, there was only one game this year where it was under 3 or something. So he was getting consistent pressure, consistently getting in the backfield and making things happen on a really bad defense. So yeah, I love him. He's really lengthy. I believe he cut down on some weight. Yeah, you guys can see that right there. I believe he cut down on some weight from when he was undrafted, because if you look at his RAS and his combine numbers and stuff, it was not very impressive. But I believe he cut some of that weight. He's very explosive with the ball, super lengthy. You can see that right away on his film. And I was talking with Brandon Thorne. I don't know if you guys who are listening watch any or read anything of Brandon Thorne.
He's the best.
He's literally the best. The best when it comes to offensive line and defensive line stuff. The smartest man out there for it. definitely reach out to him. He's outstanding. So definitely reach out to him. But yeah, Brandon Thorne, I think he said Romeo Okwara is a lot like Chandler Jones to him, where like every single thing is so nuanced and complete with them. And you can see that with Okwara, like every single, like if you wanted to go to a bull rush, I mean, everything was right where you needed to be. If he was going to cross chop, his hands are so quick and he was able to get to the outside. I don't know if he's going to leave Detroit. I mean, they would be extremely dumb to let him go at this point. Really dumb. But new GM, new management in there. Who knows how they, and they're probably they're not tanking, but they're tanking. Tanking. So who knows? But damn, dude, he's so good. If he can get to a team like the Colts, for instance, for me here with Buckner, I think he can be a 15, 16, 17 sack guy.
Wow.
But he would be a great fit for what you guys are trying to do, because you guys need some kind of consistent pressure. Obviously you want to get that 3 tech in there, but if you can get an edge rusher off the bat, I mean, you guys just need something for that instant pressure now, because I will say the cover 2 scheme dies without pressure. You need pressure. And that's what Eberflus learned in 2018 when, he brought the Kenny Moore blitz and he was bringing Leonard. I mean, Leonard had, I think, 6 or 7 sacks. Kenny Moore finished the year with like 6 or 7 sacks. So when they had no way to get pressure up front, they had to bring that pressure, because this scheme is dead without pressure. You need that pressure up front.
Yeah. Yeah, because those zones just cannot hold up. So that's why I'm going to keep talking about investing in the trenches. Whether you can get a 3 tech, there's not too many in the free agent class. There's Leonard Williams would be great. Maybe Sheldon Rankins is another guy. But this edge class definitely is something that we need to look into. It's a deep edge class this year. Really deep. It's strong at the top, but it's deep throughout. And, with Texans, with how our situation is right now, I don't know. Being realistic, I don't think we're going to attract the top-notch guys, the Yannick Ngakwe's, Bud Dupree, Shaq Barrett's. Like, obviously, we would love to have them. Everyone knows how talented they are. But being realistic, I don't think we're going to be able to get them. So that's okay, because we've got a lot of mid-tier free agents that can still get you great production. So a guy like Romeo Okwara, who is physically built, like you said, it's perfect for a 4.3 D end. I think it was 6'3", 260, 6'4", 260 pounds. Like, that is perfect. He's got great length, you can see on film. What I didn't know is how technically advanced he is. Super
advanced. To me, the way I compared it, like, I don't think he's like this player at all, but you know how when Shaq Barrett was going to the Bucks and you could see that breakout kind of coming for him?
Yeah.
Like, maybe not
his last year in Denver?
Yeah. And like, not to the degree that, what it has been. Now he's like
crazy.
Yeah, top tier pass rusher. But you know how you could kind of see him inching on that breakout? It kind of feels like that with Okwara, where like he's getting there.
And he's piecing it all together.
Yeah, he is. And honestly, I don't really know what he could have done better with his game. Hey, I appreciate that right there. Let's put that up there. How do we put that one up there? Put that new one up there.
One?
Yeah.
That is a great dude.
That seems like a good dude. I'm a good dude. But yeah, no, to me, I don't know if Okwara really needs much more in his game. I just think that he needs to go somewhere where he can actually, get pressure. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Detroit
let him do his job. Yeah.
Yeah. He was doing his job. It was just a lot of bad circumstances with Detroit. Nobody else getting pressure. I mean, I think they were one of the worst pressure teams in football last year.
Oh, definitely.
Even with him getting all those pressures. So
they had I can't name another person on the defensive line. Like,
I think they paid Trey Flowers like $18 a year.
Oh, that bad contract, right?
Yeah, dude. I like Trey Flowers for the Colts a couple years ago, but for like 12, not 18.
Yeah, no, not 18. That's way too much. Jesus Christ. But Romeo Okwara, how much do you think he would get? Like around 14 million?
Botrick has him at, I think, 10 or 11.
Yeah.
It's so hard to gauge right now with this free agency.
It's too early.
It's a really weird free agency.
Also the cap's down, right?
Yeah. Well, we're told that it's likely going to be at the floor, which is 175, I believe. But then there have been reports lately that are pretty optimistic about it jumping up to 185. So we don't really know yet what it's going to be. I think they have their meetings pretty soon to kind of determine that. But if it's 185, I could see him getting close to 14, 15.
That's what on the high end.
Yeah, if it's 175, maybe if a team like the Colts go after him, I could see it still being around that. But if not, I could see like 11, 12 or so. Like he's going to get paid and it's going to be good. I mean, he's going to outplay whatever contract he gets, I think.
Damn. So you don't think he's just a 1-year wonder, right?
No, I like him a lot. I really like him. Yeah, I'm on Stampede Blue, Silver Yoshi. Silver Yoshi.
Definitely check him out.
Silver Yoshi. I like it.
I like that name. Yeah. What was I gonna say? I completely lost my train of thought.
Well, do you have another edge rusher we can get super? Oh,
ooh, send poutine. $3. I should be sending you $3 for the poutine. What you sending me money for? Thank you, Cyanide. Though. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Let me look at my little notes here. Another guy. So talking about kind of, I think this is a good topic to kind of talk about, is like kind of distinguishing like 1-year wonders from guys who are actually going to be that good and actually break out. So one thing that really stood out to me is Trey Hendrickson with all of his production, 13.5 sacks. That is crazy for the Saints. He's a defensive end for the Saints. He's now a free agent, and 13.5 sacks in the past year. So I want to watch the film on him and see, how many of those sacks are just like really great moves out of him really doing a great job versus a good tackle, right? Or how many of them are maybe coverage sacks or set up by his teammates, stuff like that. And I was actually kind of impressed. There was like, I don't think he's going to get a double digit. He's not going to be a double digit sack kind of guy. I had it here where 4 out of his 13.5 were like really great sacks. Things that I can see translating to the future, right? They're not like just lucky. 2 of them were off of coverage sacks. A sack and a half were versus the Chargers, and it was just a horrible left tackle play there. Just some of the worst you'll ever damn see. Like they were just straight pylons. So I don't even want to count those. And then he had 3 off of stunts. So kind of looking at all of his production, almost half of it, I would say, is I don't see it like translating. So I think with him, it's very easy to get attracted to those big sack numbers, but he's not a guy like a Romeo Okwara where you see all the traits that make him so good, all the pass rush moves, the length, the power, all that stands out. To pay him like you said, $11 to $14 million. Have you watched a little bit on Trey Hendrickson or?
Yeah, I think in a vacuum, I'd want him.
Yeah.
Like if you're just saying like yes or no, do you want Trey Hendrickson? Yeah, of course. I think he's a really good player. Like you said, he had some high quality sacks last year, and I think he's a quality player. But I believe he's coming off I think he was a first team All Pro, wasn't he, this past year, or second team All Pro?
Did they? Wow.
I think they gave it to him over a couple other guys that were, I think, better than him. I think Brandon was talking about that too. I think he got over Shaq Barrett, if I remember.
That is crazy.
I could be mistaken, but his sack numbers were really high up there, so it makes sense from just the voters who vote just looking at the numbers.
Just they see the box scores. Yeah, exactly.
It's very addicting, those box scores. But yeah, I think in a vacuum, I'd like him. I don't think there's many issues in his game, but I don't think he's as explosive or as refined as a guy like Okwara. So yeah, I think Henderson would be a good fit. Maybe if you're a team who can give like a couple year deal for 10 to 14, like sure. Like, if you're like the Jaguars who have $1 billion to spend, I could see Hendrickson because he's gonna elevate the play on your defensive line. He's not gonna elevate, I don't think, to the degree of what he might command because he's coming off an All-Pro season. So in a vacuum, I think he's good. Yeah, I like him, but
no, I'm on the same page with you on that. I like him as a player. I think he can be a solid 5, 6, maybe 7 sacks type of season, type of guy a season. Depends on the situation that he's in, though. If he has the talent, like on that Saints defensive line, where you have a Cam Jordan, you have a Sheldon Rankins that takes some of the attention away from him, he can get you 7 and maybe one season he does go above double digits again. But I think when you see 13.5 sacks, like you said on the box score, like that, your eyes go straight to that, right? And he's one of the guys that's like buyers beware, that type of saying, right? With him, is just don't really want to throw him a big like $15 million plus deal and expect him to consistently pour out double digit sacks. Like you saying, like I'd have a lot more confidence in Romeo Okwara being that double digit sack guy than I would with Trey Hendrickson, but I would still like him on my team. Yeah,
he's going to elevate the play of your defensive line, but he doesn't fix your issues up front. Where I'm not saying Okwara fixes your issues, but Okwara I think is closer to that than maybe a guy like Shaq Barrett does fix your issues if you want to go all the way up there. But yeah, I don't think Hendrickson is a guy who fixes all your issues. I think he's a good complementary piece. You can pay him to be even more than that, and if you need that, but I wouldn't put that much into him.
No. All right. So we talked about some edges. We talked about Dinko Autry, Romeo Okwara, Trey Hendrickson. I know Carl Lawson is your guy too, but he doesn't fit as much as kind of like the measurables of like a 4-3 D end.
I don't think he's going to come to the Colts.
Yeah.
The ship has kind of sailed in my mind. The issue with him is the Colts have a type. And you know what's nice about, well, maybe nice and also frustrating. You don't really know what your type is that your GM.
We don't know yet.
Yeah. I can say from Casero. How do you say his name? Cesaro.
See, I call him Nick Casserole, but it's really Nick Casario. That's how you're supposed to say it. But
like the calculator. That's what he.
Yeah.
Casario. Okay.
Casario. He's very.
Okay. I will say he's definitely into this scheme. You know, obviously he liked Eberflus, so
yeah,
he's into this.
He bought into it.
Yeah, so he's going to draft guys for this scheme, just like Ballard's bought into the scheme in Indy. So, yeah, I don't know if it's going to be the same type of guys that Indy's looking at, though. Like, does he like the same thing that, like, Ballard likes lengthy, explosive guys, straight line explosion and length. So I know to look at those things, and I know that Carl Lawson is neither of those things. So I'm pretty sure Carl Lawson's not going to come to Indy, even though I really want him to because I think he's a stud. But who knows if that's something that
I'm thinking with with what he's been around with the Patriots, they like their bigger ends too.
Okay.
And they like their bigger defensive tackles. So I think it's along the same lines of what you guys look for. But yeah, Carl Lawson, great talent. Obviously, I'd love him on my team. I think he's going to be a breakout guy as well. But maybe he doesn't. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. We don't know fully. And especially with Lovie Smith. If he wants to still go back to those roots or if he's going to adjust a little bit, if he wants some faster guys, some smaller guys on the team. But let's talk about cornerbacks, because I feel like cornerback is a very interesting thing in this scheme that, you know, it's not a position that you have to spend super high capital on. Like, you don't need that lockdown man-to-man cover cornerback. You don't need to get the best guys and be giving them a huge contract. But this is where you find the most value within this scheme, is finding guys who are very good at doing that one specific thing, playing that cover 2 zone. And that's where you can find a lot of value, especially in free agency. So I think kind of looking at the ideal cornerback, you know, you want size, you want length, you want them to be able to be physical at the line of scrimmage, because a lot of the time they are going to be pressing and jamming. And you also want them to be able to be smart, have awareness, spatial awareness, especially in zone coverage. Was that kind of what your ideas are with the cover 2 corner as well?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny. I actually look at the, Pete Carroll has a way that he looks at corners, right? They don't draft anyone under 6 foot or anyone under, I think it's 32-inch arms. That's how the Seahawks have always been with their step kick. Lonnie Johnson's actually a great example. The Colts really like Lonnie Johnson, but they didn't think Rock Ya-Sin would be there at pick 34, so they took Rock Ya-Sin, but they were planning on taking Lonnie Johnson later in that draft. But yeah, you know, the Seahawks have this way where 32-inch arms, typically not under 6 foot, but I think they took Ugo Amadi last year, and he's had like 33-inch arms, like he's a freak. And Kenny Moore is kind of the same way. Kenny Moore is like 33-inch arms for 5'8", like absolute freaky. But it's about that arm length. It's about that physicality. That's the biggest part of being an outside corner or even a slot corner in this scheme. You know, you have to be willing to tackle because, like I said earlier, you know, this whole scheme is about funneling everything underneath, funneling things to the zones where you can come up and make a play. If you have corners who are liabilities in tackling, your whole scheme breaks down because if you funnel to the flats and your corner can't come up and make a tackle, that's still going to be an 8-yard gain, 9-yard gain. So you can't have non-physical corners in this scheme. You've seen with the Colts, Xavier Rhodes this past year, Marvell Tell, converted safety, Rock Ya-Sin, even with his coverage issues, he's still a great tackler and a really physical player. So, it's the biggest thing in this scheme is that obviously you want them not to be liabilities in coverage because you're not going to run cover 2 every single play. You know, if you're a cover 2 defense, like the Colts are a cover 2 defense, and I think they run it like 33% of the time or 35% of the time. So it's not like that's all they run, and that's your base. That's what you go to in certain situations. So yeah, you definitely want those type of traits, but you also want a guy who's not a liability in overall coverage, which is kind of the issue we're having a little bit with Rock Ya-Sin right now. really good in that cover 2, and he's really good in zone stuff. But when they switch to the man and they have to have him turn in phase is where he's had some struggles. But yeah, I mean, I think honestly for the Texans, you probably want to go veteran with this. I think veteran.
Oh, definitely. I think with a lot of the free agents that we're going to be looking at, I think it's, we're not going to break the bank on those 3-4 year deals, but it's your veterans that they want to get paid one more time for a 1 or 2 year deal. And I think Xavier Rhodes might be that ideal guy. He kind of, he had a great career resurrection with you guys. Matt Eberflus really took him out of that kind of more man heavy scheme in the Minnesota. And I don't want to say hid him in zone. I feel like a lot of people say that, but I mean, I feel like he was just better suited to play zone and what you guys wanted to do there.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like they threw him in some zone stuff, but anything they put him in, he looked completely different. I watched.
He did look more athletic.
Yeah, the 2019 film was awful. And he got banged up early in the year, and people all thought that was him kind of being like a prima donna, like a lot of Vikings people did. But maybe he was, because he looked like a completely different player last year. I mean, he was turning and running with anyone I saw him cover. I mean, I saw him turn and run with Darnell Mooney early in the year, and Darnell Mooney's a freak. Yeah. So I don't know. I think he just got healthy and got back with Gannon, and it kind of turned it around for him. But yeah, I think Rhodes I think is the perfect for this scheme to kind of get you back on track. That's kind of what he did for the Colts last year. The Colts didn't have anyone to play the other outside corner, especially with Yasin trying to grow into his role a little bit. And they hoped he would take a bigger step, but it was nice to have Rhodes there to kind of hold down the fort.
As that insurance.
And the biggest thing is he can line up over top receivers too and still play them. I mean, he played one side. He didn't travel with anybody, but when he was asked to be over top receiver, I mean, he made some plays on Allen Robinson this year as well. AJ Brown, he made a couple good plays on. So yeah, he's a really good corner. I think Pro Football Focus had him as the 4th ranked corner in football last year. He had I think it was like a 51% completion percentage when targeted. Yeah, I mean, he only had the 2 picks, but he had like 3 dropped interceptions as well, where it could have been an all-pro season for him if he just made those plays. So yeah, I honestly, Rhodes won't be coming back to Indy from everything I've heard and from everything that's been reported lately. And I think the Colts are going to go a little younger at that spot in free agency. So I think for a team like you guys who are transitioning to this scheme in need of veteran who can kind of be stable, I can certainly see that being a fit. He just wants to get paid though, so you're gonna have to shell out a little bit of money for him.
I mean, that's what we're kind of accepting the reality that we are gonna have to overpay for some free agents with the situation that's going on with the Texans. But I think Rhodes definitely a perfect scheme and style fit. The only thing that does worry me about is his age. He's crossed that dreaded 30 number for cornerbacks. That the decline is coming, and so I think if you would want to give him a big 1 year deal, I think that would be ideal. Even something a 2 or 3 year deal, I'd be a little bit wary about. But yeah, I love that fit for him, for us, for sure. I think another guy I see you talking about is Ahkello Witherspoon.
Yeah.
He's with the Niners, and he was always super intriguing out of college because of his size, his length, and he showed some great flashes of having great ball skills. And so I thought that, he's definitely an intriguing free agent. I feel like the Niners aren't going to bring him back. And so I can see him being a perfect fit in this. Now, the only thing with him is I feel like he didn't want to tackle coming out of college. Wasn't that kind of his whole thing?
He got better.
He got better? Okay.
Dude, I was so pumped. You guys could literally look at my Twitter, like at Zach Hicks 2, Witherspoon or something. And there's like this whole tweet about me going excited, like, oh my God, he could tackle. Like I was, because oh my God, dude, one of my all-time favorite draft crushes, Ahkello Witherspoon. I fell in love with his feet, with his size, with his length. I mean, everything that was there to be a top corner. But he was the softest dude ever coming out. Like he couldn't tackle. I mean, that Colorado team was kind of allergic to tackling. All those guys. They had Witherspoon, Isaiah Oliver. Isaiah Oliver was actually a pretty good tackler, and so does Chidobe Uzie. Tedrick Thompson could not tackle. That's why he's not in the other team anymore. But yeah, I mean, I loved Witherspoon. I loved the upside, and to end this year, he played some really, really good football. I think if you only look at those last 4 or 5 weeks, I think Pro Football Focus had him as the 2nd best corner in football through those games. He had He had like 2 interceptions as well, a couple pass breakups. Looked really, really good. So it's good for him that his last 4 games before his contract is up were his best of his career.
Definitely.
Definitely.
That helps you out there a lot. Are you a big PFF guy? I find PFF.
So I love their stats. Their stats. I think they're great to bring up for reference, those stats and stuff. Even if I don't think they're completely telling. Like I said, Rowe 51% completion percentage. I don't know if that's super accurate, but I think it's in the ballpark.
Yeah.
And I think their grades for the most part are in the ballpark. There's some positions and
there's some that are really whack graded. I don't know why.
in my opinion, I don't think they know how to grade linebackers. I really don't. I've seen one of my buddies who has access to, because he works with a company that works with PFF. I'm not going to say who it was, obviously, because it's not supposed to share it with me, but they get a list of all the plays that get negative grades for players. So he showed me that list, and he clicked through some of the plays with me. And I mean, there was a linebacker once that I saw where like 3 of their negative plays were on plays with penalties that didn't even count. And it's
what the hell?
I don't know. Their process has always been confusing to me when it comes to grading.
Yeah, that's my big thing too, is that they don't really explain the process. And like, especially with football, it's so situational every single play. That's why it's always hard to label a player with a number. To me, that's always kind of weird. And so especially with linebacker play, like they don't always know what the scheme is, what the linebacker's true role is in that. And so to place blame on that. So I don't know. With PFF, for me, like it's good to kind of look at, but it shouldn't be the entire story. I think that's kind of what I go behind.
Yeah. When you use it in the context of an argument and a discussion, I think it's fine. For instance, like when I start my road stuff, I talk about what he did for the Colts, and I'll throw it in his context at the end. I think that stuff's fine.
Exactly.
But especially the grades, you shouldn't use the grades as end all be alls. You should use the stats. I think their advanced stats are great. They do a great. I mean, essentially to me, they are a charting service. They chart stuff and they watch everything and they chart it. And I need that. So thank you. But
yeah, I don't have the time for that.
Yeah, I've charted some things before. It takes hours. It's hard. But yeah, I think they're fine. I've had hot and cold times with them, but
I don't know.
I accept them for what they are at this point.
At this point, like you said, their context for me, when they say good things about a player, I'll use them. When they trash them on a player, I'm gonna not use them. That's kind of my relationship with PFF,
Pretty much, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
If it supports my argument, I'll use it. If not, I'll just ignore it.
Pretty much.
I'll ignore the grade when it's like red, but the cool
exactly.
Stuff, 3 tackles for a loss or 3 stops from PFF. There we go. I can use that one.
Now I can use it. Now I love them. Now they're my best friend. Exactly.
Best friend.
All right. I think the last position I want to talk about for free agents, and then we'll get to the draft because I see some people. I see y'all in the chat wanting to get to the draft. But last kind of position I want to talk about was linebacker, because we were talking about how important that cover linebacker is in this scheme, and especially with the will. And with Zach Cunningham, he's a very talented will linebacker, I think, but if there's one thing that you're going to nitpick his game is definitely coverage, right? So I think the Texans need to go in a different direction there, and especially with the Tampa 2, to get someone to play that middle zone that you talk about. And so my personal crush, we talked about him a little bit earlier, but Alex Anzalone, the Saints, I'll definitely make a video on him because the Saints run a lot of cover too, and he's always that middle read zone, and he really just covers it so well, and he'll take slot wide receivers up the seam. He'll cover them like 20, 30 yards down the field on skinny posts, stuff like that. So definitely check him out. I think he's more of the, an under the radar guy. He's not going to get a big contract, but I think that's perfect for what the Texans need. And the Colts need to cover linebacker as well, right?
Yeah.
But not in free agency, you were saying?
I think it's going to be more of a draft thing. And honestly, what the big thing that the Colts are looking for isn't necessarily a cover linebacker. I think they're more looking for either a rangy safety up top, so where you can drop Kari Willis a little bit more in the box on nickel and dime situations, or they're looking for a hybrid star type who can play a little bit in the slot, a little bit at linebacker. Colts like doing that. They like having some safeties in the box. They weren't able to do that last year because they only had 2 playable safeties once Hooker went down, or not 2 playable. I mean, Tavon Wilson was. I should say 2 playable. 2 playable up top because Tavon Wilson struggled. But But yeah, I think they're looking for that third type. Cover linebacker kind of rolls with that because Colts love those small. I mean, you guys are going to get used to small linebackers. Darius Leonard sometimes on game day plays at 205. So
what?
yeah, you didn't hear that? He plays.
That
at
is insane.
or he tries to get to 205 during the year.
Wow.
Yeah, he tries to
That
get
is
205. Okariki's like 220. Actually, Kari Willis comes down and plays in the box a little bit. And he's like 215. He's bigger than Leonard.
that is crazy to think. Oh my god.
I'll tell you. I was at Colts training camp a couple years ago, and like 2 years ago, I think what it was. And if you look at the waist of all the linebackers, you got Darius Leonard, which is like, tiny. EJ Speed, who played quarterback in college, was even tinier.
Lord.
Ricky had a kind of tiny waist. Then you got Matthew Adams, who's just this bulky, huge human being. So, yeah, you guys got to get used to the smaller linebackers if they want to go the Flus route with it.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly a good sentiment. I think especially that middle linebacker, I think it's going to be more of the money backer, right? Yeah. That safety linebacker hybrid. That's, I think, what we need to really target to make this Tampa 2 work. So I think Anzalone, like I mentioned, is a good guy. I think Jayon Brown could be an interesting target. He's from the Titans. He's a super athletic linebacker. He's like 6 foot 220 himself, something like that. Yeah. And then I don't know if you've watched a lot of him, but Shaquem Griffin. He got drafted to the Seahawks. He's a linebacker. I loved him out of UCF. Loved what he did. He was super versatile. They played him on the edge a lot. I don't know how well he translates to kind of more of a middle linebacker role, but he's got that size, got that athleticism. So he's one of my kind of under the radar guys to target.
You might be the first person ever who brought him up without mentioning he has one hand.
I didn't want to say it. But
you literally might be the first person ever. It's like with the Chris Hogan lacrosse thing and Tom Brady 6th-round pick. Like, I was waiting for it. I was like, he's gonna have to say the one hand. Right?
It is super cool. It's an amazing story. And so he's the brother of Shaquille Griffin on the Seahawks as well. But it's crazy how he's able to still make it work. Like, I thought it would really be a big detriment to his game, but I mean, he doesn't play like he has a club for a hand. You know what I mean? Like, he plays like he's got 2 hands. He's punching people in the mouth. So I love everything about him. I'd love to have him on our team.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart too. He was down at the Senior Bowl and they put him on the mic every single time they could. Soft-spoken guy, absolute sweetheart. I hope good things for him. He's awesome.
He's awesome. Yeah, that's my big thing. I want him to be successful for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we talked a lot. I would love to talk more about free agency. Honestly, maybe we'll have to do it in a future video, but I think people want to hear about the draft. And I did put it in the title.
Everyone's talking draft in there. So
I can't lie to them. So I don't know where to start with this because I feel like quarterbacks is a good place to start, but I also don't want to anger we ain't trading Deshaun Watson fans, which is partly where I'm at too.
The 3rd-round pick, Davis Mills, is that what's going to
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about mid-round quarterbacks. Lord. Kellermond. God damn. Kellermond is like an enigma.
Kellermond was Incredibad is what I called him. He's the best horrible quarterback there is. He's awful but good at the same time.
He's like 3 different quarterbacks put into one. Like, every different quarter in the game, like, you'll see a different player. It's crazy.
I'm just gonna settle on I wouldn't take him, is what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, too much of a risk. Oh God. He's something else. But I think looking at the top, I know you've done some studies on Trey Lance, and I've been watching Trey Lance recently, and I've looked at all the top guys just briefly because I don't want to waste too much of my time on them just in case we don't end up making a trade. But Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, man, he's closing the gap for me between him and those other 2 guys, Fields and Wilson. I don't think there should be that big of a gap, honestly. For me, their ceilings are all at the same level. Like, their ceilings are all sky high, definitely franchise quarterback levels. They can make every single throw on the field possible. Great off-script playmaking ability. I think with Lance particularly, he's probably just going to be the most raw of the 3. He probably need to sit a year, ideally, behind a veteran quarterback, unless the situation around the quarterback is great. Unless he's given a great offensive line, giving great weapons, and a strong defense. But what are your thoughts on Trey Lance? Do you think there's that big of a gap between Wilson, Fields, and Lance, or you know what I mean?
So I'll start by saying I'm an absolute dick when it comes to grading. Like, I'm really harsh on everybody. Like I have like 14 first-round grades a year. That's just me. I like guys who I think are instant impact guys, and I think there's enough issues with Trey Lance where you can be a little skeptical. But to me, just because say I have 14 first-round grades and Lance will be like my 20th player, for instance, just I don't know where he's going to actually be. Doesn't mean I wouldn't take him in the first, or doesn't even mean I wouldn't take him in the top 10 because I would take him in the top 10. He's extremely talented, super talented, great athlete. People fall off of him when they try to tackle him. Even in it wasn't a top tier school, but the game he played this year against Arkansas State, FBS school, people were still falling off him. So just an absolute freak athlete. The arm talent is outstanding, absolutely elite. I do think there's some issues with this process right now in terms of seeing the field. He's kind of a one-read guy right now because he had all that talent at North Dakota State. He could, look at his one read the whole time, and that guy's got to get open. And he had 20 minutes to throw every single time because
he had great protection.
Dylan Redun's, Volson, the center is a stud too. Like they have a lot of. They're the best. They're bigger than Alabama of the FCS.
Yeah.
But from everything I've seen and I've heard, like I can look at the positives, or I can look at the athleticism, his ability to make the way that he can make plays off script and outside the pocket and in the read option game, along with the elite arm. And from everything I've heard and I've talked to a couple people that are close to North Dakota State, he's apparently one of the smartest human beings in this class too. Like he's a genius on the whiteboard. It's just he never really got a chance to show that at North Dakota State. Obviously, it could be a little bit of hindsight bias, but from guys I've talked to at North Dakota State said that he's a better prospect than Wentz was. If you look at them separately. So I don't know. I really like him. I do have my concerns because I'm an asshole with grading, but I would take him top 10. I would trade up for him if I were a team like the Colts. If I were a team maybe like the Texans, I'd be a little more skeptical because I don't know if I have the stuff to support him early while he has those bumps. Where the Colts, they have that offensive line that's outstanding. They have some promising receivers in Michael Pittman Jr. and if Paris Campbell's actually alive. And then
I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah,
he had so much hype coming out of college.
It sucks, man. But then they have Jonathan Taylor, Naeem Hines. They have guys who can support him, where I think it can be kind of like a Josh Allen situation where even if you're throwing him out there into the wolves a little early, you can bank on him getting better. And because you have the coaching in place, you have the weapons in place, you have the defense that can support. So I really hope he ends up in a team like that. Like I hope he falls to maybe because I could see him falling. I mean, teams overthink everything. What? I could honestly see. I'm not stamping this. I could see a team liking Mac Jones more than him because
there's definitely going to be some.
Mac Jones is more ready to play right now.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Like I would take Lance over him easy, but I could see a scenario where a team likes a Mac. Like I could see a team like the Niners liking Mac Jones more because Mac Jones gets them where they want to go. Where I think the Colts are never really that desperate. They can really see a guy with his potential. So I really hope he falls to like the 12th, 13th, 14th pick somehow, and a team like the Colts trades up for him because I think that'd be just a great fit. You guys don't want to see that though. You guys don't, but
God,
I think that'd be nice.
I would hate to see Trey Lance in a Colts jersey because it is, like you said, it is a picture perfect fit.
And it's a possible scenario.
Yeah.
Because in 4 quarterbacks aren't going to go top 10. I'll tell you guys that right now. Four quarterbacks, maybe 4 will go one will go exactly at 10.
At 10,
but
yeah.
Any mock draft where you see them go 1, 2, 3, 4, or
that's unrealistic.
1, 2, 4, 6, even it's probably not going to happen that way. It's only happened once in the last 30 years.
Teams love to pick apart quarterbacks.
Yeah, and think about it, Justin Fields coming from the school where Haskins just busted out of his just busted so quick.
Exactly.
One read quarterback. All those things traditionally, and this is just traditionally. This isn't an opinionative or a political thing, but black quarterback typically fall. So you can see him falling for those reasons. You could see Zach Wilson has injury concerns. He's a smaller guy, 1 year of production. When he played against ranked teams, it was not as great. And Trey Lance, 1 year at the FCS level.
Yeah.
You can overthink those three so much. And if we saw Lamar Jackson fall to the end of the first round. We saw plenty of guys who were probably better. Yeah, Deshaun Watson, Pat Mahomes. I mean, that's probably hindsight bias. I don't think Pat Mahomes is the greatest prospect, but you know what I mean? Like these guys falling outside the top 10, to think all 4 of these guys are locks in the top 10, I think that's a little absurd to me. I know some people are calling that. So I think there's a really real scenario where a team like the Colts can be sitting there at 21, and you could get a guy like Lance at, trading up to pick 13 or 14. And I don't think that's outside the question like some people are saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that too. I think one pretty random scenario that I threw out there, because I know you're right. Like, you don't want to throw Lance to the wolves like that. You really don't. You want to give him a good supporting cast and give him even a year possible to wait and learn. So one kind of random scenario that I was throwing out there is in Deshaun Watson trade. Say we trade with a team like the Dolphins. We get a big haul, big package, and we also get Tua involved in that. And then you're at 3, and you have Tua, but you're not maybe super head over heels about him. Right. And maybe you did fall in love with a guy like Trey Lance during the draft process, because he does have a higher ceiling than a guy like Tua. So I think one crazy and fun scenario would be trading down to maybe that 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 range, and then taking Trey Lance there. And so you've got these 2 quarterbacks that you're going to get hopefully your shot at your franchise quarterback between one of those 2. You give Tua another year to continue to prove himself, and then you let Lance learn. How you think about that situation?
Dude, you're sounding like Pro Football Focus here, man. That's what Pro Football Focus would do.
You think so?
Oh my god. They were bashing Washington all last offseason for not taking I think they were bashing Washington for not taking Tua last year. When Washington still needed to see what Haskins was at that point.
Yeah.
And Pro Football Focus was saying, take Tua and have them doing a quarterback battle and stuff like that. They were destroying them for taking Chase Young. I'm not even saying they're completely wrong, but that'd be an absolute batshit insane scenario. But,
exactly, right?
Which I don't know if a team would actually have the balls to do it, even though I don't think it's a bad idea at all. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have a better, you're gonna have the better of the quarterbacks. So I don't think it's a horrible idea. I don't think a team has the guts for it. Maybe Easterby would be the one that has the guts for it.
Easterby would be the motherfucker to
he would be the motherfucker who does this shit.
God.
But I don't know. I seriously don't think there's I don't know. I like the idea. Like in my mind, I keep thinking about it. I'm like, it sounds pretty fun, but teams are scared, man. That's why Mac Jones is going to go in like the top 15 or 20 in this class. Like,
there's some things to like about Mac Jones.
I like Mac Jones. I really like Mac Jones. Like I'm not trying to disparage him at all, but he shouldn't be in the top 15.
No, because his ceiling is not that high. He's he can be the Ryan Tannehill for you. You give him a great offensive system, great personnel. He can lead you to the playoffs, but he's not your franchise like game changer. He's not your Mahomes, your Watson, those types of guys, right? So
like you can survive with a weaker arm if you're someone like Joe Burrow who can make plays off script and create. Mac Jones
can't do that.
Doesn't have he has the mental side of it down. He has pocket mobility. He has a lot of good things. I think he can be a solid player in this league. It's just that ceiling is always going to be capped. I mean, there's the rare chance he's a Tom Brady or something, but like he's not going to be that. So
yeah, and that's kind of the
solid starter. I think he's a solid starter, but
yeah, and that's kind of the same thing that like my thoughts on Tua Tagovailoa. Limited ceiling, but he can still be that guy that can lead you to the playoffs. But he's not just like Sean says in the chat, like he's a high level game manager. I think Tua and Mac Jones are pretty similar in that sense. They need more help around them, but they can still be successful. Go for it.
I'm kind of doubting my process a little bit. One thing is like looking back at Tua and Herbert and all them, like what about Tua stood out to me? Like why did I have I don't think I had Tua that high. Like I like Tua. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, but like what does Tua do better than Mac Jones? And Pro Football Focus has actually been hyping on this a lot. And honestly, I don't know. like Tua has a bigger arm, but it's not that much bigger.
Not much, yeah.
And it's just because he has a little bit of a bigger arm, the difference between me having him as a first round grade and Mac as like a late second, like that's weird to me. I don't know. Like it's something with my process I always have to look at. I'm always I'm always looking at my process and trying to figure things out. And
That's great.
I don't know. Like Mac and Tua, I think are very similar as prospects.
But Mac ain't gonna go top 5.
Yeah.
Like Tua.
And
I don't know. I think Tua's a little bit better at making off script plays. That's still not where you want him ideally, but I think he's a little bit better at that and escaping the pocket. And so I think he has a slightly higher ceiling, but like you said, it's very, very similar.
But he was also coming in with a bad injury too, which
that was the big thing. His
so
hip,
it's
right?
Like bad injury, does two things a little bit better than Mac, but he's such a better prospect than Mac was. It's interesting to me, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think it's because I think it's kind of. It's depending on how many quarterbacks are in that class. Like with that class, it was him and Herbert. Was there someone else that I'm missing?
Burrow went first.
Burrow, and Herbert. It was that. And then with this class, you kind of got 4 guys. So maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
Never mind. I kind of forgot about Burrow. I thought there was only 2 main guys in that class. My theory is kind of
the quarterback class this year. I'm just going to say this to you guys. So when you're watching quarterbacks, it doesn't exist after Mac.
Oh, don't even bother.
It honestly might be the worst quarterback class I've ever seen after Mac. Like, there's 5 quarterbacks in this class who could be something. That's probably it.
Yeah. This is the guy from Florida, Kyle Trask.
God, he's Mason Rudolph 2.0. He's got a noodle.
Yeah, noodle arm. Oh my lord.
He
only look good because of Kyle Pitts.
I don't hate him. Like, I think he could be a solid backup, but like I would draft him if I had a good team and I just needed like a decent backup like later on. But
yeah,
that's probably I might honestly finish this class with like 6 or 7 draftable quarterbacks.
Draftable, wow.
Yeah, like I think I'll probably put Mond as draftable just because like I could see it, but I really don't think there's anybody like Ian Book. Maybe like no.
There's just no like qualities that really stand out to you about the rest of those guys and can translate to the next level.
Like I like some UDF, like Zach Thomas from App State is going to be an undrafted guy that I kind of like. Brady Davis out of Illinois State has a nuke for an arm, but he doesn't know what he's doing right now. So, but those guys are interesting, but they're more undrafted types that you can kind of stash and hope they become backups. So
yeah, I don't know. Hopefully,
5 guys.
5 guys. And hopefully the Texans don't have to even look in this realm of possibilities of quarterbacks. Hopefully Sean Watson's our guy.
Sam Howell, QB1 next year is what you guys are getting ready for.
Mm-hmm. Sam Howell, Desmond Ritter or Riddler?
I like Ritter. Yeah, I like Ritter.
Ritter.
He's interesting.
He's got
the Arizona State kid's really fun. Jaden Daniels.
I've never heard of him.
Really? Oh, check him out. Check him out.
Yeah?
You want to have fun?
Okay.
Yeah, everybody, guys. Jaden Daniels. I think it's Jaden Daniels. I hope I'm not saying it wrong. I think it's Jaden Daniels. Jaden.
Yeah, I don't know why. Okay. But
yeah, Jaden Daniels. Yep. 6'3",
Arizona State.
6'3", 175. So he's a little tiny, but
he's got 175.
Yeah, he's tiny.
I'm almost 175. God damn.
But his freshman year, he had 3,000 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 2 picks. This past year in 4 games, he had 700 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. Yeah, he's a good player. Let me see. He ran the ball a little bit, not too much. He had 200 yards rushing in 4 games last year for 4 touchdowns. So he's a solid player. Like he's fun. Like you guys want to have fun watching a quarterback.
What's his name again? I want to see a picture of him. Why do they think he's on heroin?
No, I think he's talking about me. Are you talking me? Or are you talking?
You're not talking about Zach.
I mean, I just have a big forehead I'm covering up. That's all it is.
God damn, Ryan. You don't gotta come from like that.
No.
God damn. Yeah, he's talking about Jaden. Okay. Thank God. God damn, Ryan.
I quit 20 minutes ago. Like, what are you talking about?
That's old Zach. We're past that.
Are we talking other guys now? Are we talking
yeah. I kind of want to talk about some of your draft crushes, some of my draft crushes during this class. And I know one guy that you're really high on that I'm also really high on is Jacoby Stevens, the safety from LSU. And I think for us, for the Texans, you know, we've got Lonnie Johnson, we've got Justin Reed at safety, but getting that third safety and that money backer that I was talking about to play that middle Tampa 2 zone. You know, you see Tyrann Mathieu do it a lot with the Chiefs. as that third safety in their scheme, and he comes down and they'll rotate to it in a bunch of different ways. They do really well. But I think getting that type of guy is very important for the Texans. And Jacoby Stevens, I keep seeing him really late in mock drafts, super late. You can even get him in the 7th round in some of these simulators. It's crazy. But I'm with you. I'm on the hype train with Jacoby Stevens. I think he can do it all for you. He can play free safety in the box. He can do dime linebacker things. You can put him in the slot a little bit occasionally. And I think he's a guy who he likes to tackle as well. But yeah, tell me all about Jacoby Stevens and why you love him.
Oh, dude, he's a blast. Turn on his film. I mean, he's so much fun to watch. I think he had like 6 sacks or whatever last year, or like 2 years ago, whatever. He had like 4 last year. A couple picks each year as well. Off the field, he's like a community service, like team captain, like, he's just a great dude all around, like on and off the field, just outstanding. But on the field, man, it's going to be a weird comp when I try to explain to people, and it's not what it is. But I honestly think he's like a little bit lesser version of like Jamal Adams in Seattle, like how they use him in Seattle, like how they don't actually put him at safety that much. They have him a little bit in man, a lot of blitzes, which Jacoby Stevens is outstanding at. He can get in that mid zone in place of linebacker and be physical. I think he's like, I don't want to say he is Jamal Adams, but I think he can be used in that role and be outstanding. Yeah, I mean, really good length, good size, good speed. It's not going to be like elite or outside of crazy, but I think he's going to be more of like a dime linebacker, star position. If you guys don't know what a star position is, it's basically like a big nickel corner.
Big nickel,
you have them basically line up at some slot, line up at some linebacker. I'm a huge fan of the star position. I love the star position. But what separates him, I think, is just his ability in run defense and his ability as a blitzer. I think you kind of do get someone like a Jamal Adams the way that he is able to get to the quarterback, find creases, and also he's a film junkie, man. I was talking ball with him. Go check out the Cover One YouTube channel after this. I did a whole film session with him, and every single play, like I pulled up the play, and I think like before I even clicked play, he told me what the blitz was going to be or what the design was going to be.
I love that when they know.
Yeah, and he told me early in the interview too that because he played linebacker and safety and some corner, that he had to go to 3 different meeting rooms all week.
Oh, Jesus.
So he had to go into meeting rooms, and he said he had a notebook. He goes through like 4 or 5 notebooks a year is what he told me. So yeah, he is insane. Really smart guy. I think he's going to have a really good career, at least a good floor as that kind of blitzing type of sub linebacker, money backer. I really love him for the Colts. That's exactly what they need. They need someone who, say Okereke doesn't take that step as a coverage backer, on third downs, you can just get a guy like Jacoby Stevens out there, and you can bring him on some blitzes. And you don't even have to bring Leonard and all. You can mix and match. You have Jacoby and Leonard mugging that A gap, and you don't know who's going to be coming. It would be just a really good combination. But yeah, I think in this type of scheme, he's a guy who really fits as that kind of nickel and dime type of linebacker.
Yeah, that's exactly how I see him too. And Ryan's saying, so another Lonnie. I made a video talking about Lonnie Johnson, kind of his move to safety. And I talked about how his best role, I think, in my opinion, is kind of that dime linebacker. And he surprisingly has like exact same measurements as Jamal Adams, actually. He's an inch taller than him. He's like a few pounds heavier than him. And he had very similar athletic testing measures at the NFL Combine in their respective years. But so I thought that was kind of the best scenario to use Lonnie Johnson in that role, like you said, blitzing, occasionally on man and tight ends, but mainly as a blitzer. And he can do some middle read things in the cover 2 zone. So yeah, with Jacoby Stevens, man, he's just a fun player. He flies around the football field. And yeah, definitely you guys check out the interview that Zach did on the Cover One YouTube channel with him. My middle linebacker for Tampa 2. That's exactly. I think he'd be great at that. Obviously, you can't play him there in that role on base downs, but you bring him there on third down, and he's gonna cover the hell out of that middle of the field. That's exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Love the football players. They do so much. Love smart football players. They do so much better, even if their talent is lower. Definitely. The fact that he's I don't say gym rat, but like a film junkie. I guess he's kind of a film junkie, like you said. Like
I like calling him film junkie.
Yeah,
because we are drug addicts. We watch that much film.
Literally.
We're definitely junkies.
We're junkies. It's addicting, man. It's so hard not to.
Dude, that and coaching clinics too. I'm a junkie for all that kind of stuff.
I saw you tweeted that you got like a playbook a while back. You got like an offensive playbook and you just really want to dive into it. I just like that was like one of my most moments where like I just related to you, where like you just want to love the game. Like you love the game so much you want to break down like and learn the little intricacies of that. And I just that's how I am too. Like you said, I'm a junkie, man. It's
dude.
rough. No matter how bad Texans football gets, I'm gonna still want to like learn these little things like that. So I see that with you as well, you know?
Yeah, dude. Shout out to my parents for Christmas. I put two $40 Chris Strasser coaching clinics on my list, and they bought both of them for me. So $80 worth of Chris Strasser coaching clinic. I think I put them away actually. I would say I thought I had them still like right here, but yeah, one's on inside and outside zone from Chris Strasser when he was back at Boise, and then also on how to run a perfect screen game, which
that's what it was. The screen game one.
Yeah, the Colts screen game actually like went off crazy last year, and Reich attributed that to Chris Strasser. So yeah, just learning that kind of stuff. I mean, I was huge on learning about Howard Mudd. Unfortunately, before he passed away, he was here with the Colts like a year ago, helping out, getting the guys up to speed. So I went crazy on that too. And yeah, it's just fun learning new things about this. I mean, mama's boy, yeah, definitely. Shout out to the mom and dad for getting that stuff. But yeah, no, it's just fun learning this shit. I mean, I figure out new things all the time, you know?
That's what I love is that when you finally think that you've like figured something out, there's always more to learn.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah.
So
like,
much more with football.
Yeah, dude, I can't even like, I've gone through Dungy playbooks and stuff before. I've gone through, Doug Peterson playbooks on offense, like just so much learning. And this is just only me focusing on the Colts. Like if I was a national guy,
the crazy thing.
Yeah, if I was a national guy trying to do this for everything, like it's insane. So, yeah, it's a blast learning this, and I learn literally a new thing every day. It feels like I mean, from any coaching clinic I watch, I figure out something different.
That's why I got to get into more coaching clinics. I mean, I try and do my best, but I think I remember one that like really stood out to me when I was kind of more getting into it was I actually watched the Bill O'Brien one back at his time at Penn State, and like. I mean, I hate him as a coach, but like listening to those, you learn so much, and it's just crazy. It's a whole other world, and so
you gotta watch Saban's one on speed turns and the way that he teaches man coverage. Blew my mind, and I became so addicted to that, along with step kick techniques and stuff. I don't know if he does one on those, but yeah, press techniques and stuff, and the way that he teaches his speed turn, because he teaches his man coverage corners to shuffle instead of backpedal. They actually don't backpedal whatsoever. If you watch Bama corners, it's called the shuffle technique, and basically what you do is you open up your hips either inside or out, and then if they are going to your blind area, you are doing a quick speed turn around the other side. So you have a quick second of not being able to see anything. But Saban kind of explains all that, and it's fascinating. And I've become a big shuffle person from talking about that. But then, you know, there'll be things like step kick. I got so big into step kick on press thing. If you guys don't know what step kick is, it's basically a physical brand of press man coverage where you are taking one read step and then you're initiating the contact and directing them where you want to go rather than matching their movements. That's what the Seahawks do. It's what Sherman did when he became, you know, Richard Sherman.
Yeah.
I was huge on that for a while. Then I talked with Cromartie, and he was soft shoe, which is mirror and stuff, and I got big on that. So yeah, you know, you go back and forth with it, and you figure out ways that you want to kind of formulate in your mind. A lot of how I scout now is based off of what I think Chris Ballard likes and stuff. So yeah, you change.
That's the interesting part.
Yeah, you change every day, so it's fun. It's fun. And Silver Yoshi about being a scout. You know, if I were offered a job, I would love it. Yeah. But, you know, I like the media side of it, trying to get more into journalism stuff with it rather than just analyst stuff. Whatever comes my way, whatever. But, yeah, being a scout would be a blast. If a college or an NFL team reached out to me, I'd love to.
If you're listening, any NFL teams right now, hit my boy Zach up.
All right, joke. Jack, hit me up. I will sign – dude, I will sign a Bible for you, whatever you need me to do.
Yeah, like, literally, that's all it takes.
Yeah, whatever.
Oh my God.
I'll get baptized by him or whatever. Like,
I would, yeah, I would probably sell out for a scouting job.
Dude, I'd sell out for most things, but yeah, definitely for a job like that.
Oh my
Even
god.
on a
Okay.
sinking ship like Easterby.
If you want to what, sorry?
Even on a sinking ship like Easterby.
Even they're gonna pay you well. They're gonna treat you right with it.
Yeah, yeah. Who knows? Maybe he'll last for a long time.
Oh, I think. Oh, I don't even want to go down there. I can't even. He's gonna last way too long. But since we were talking about cornerbacks and technique, let's talk about in the draft because we definitely need bow down to Farquaad.
I love the picture too with it.
Yeah, he's got it all. Damn.
He does got it all.
Zach tries to think what Ballard thinks like Jordan tries to think like Easterby. I cannot. I would literally kill myself, Beige. Oh my god.
That's a good one.
Get into the mind of Joke Easterby.
Dude, Beige is great. I love Beige.
Oh, I love him. He's my guy.
Beige.
No, don't steal my boy Beige like that.
Come follow Stampede Blue. We'll do some live stuff. I'm doing a live interview with Coastal Carolina dude on Wednesday. You guys should check that out. If you guys are so crazy enough to be in this, you know you're crazy enough to be in that one too. So.
Exactly. Definitely. But you're talking about cornerback technique, and I kind of want to segue that into more draft prospects, and then we'll get up out of here because I realized I didn't ask you how much time you got here, but
I got until my wife gets home, so like 10:30. Yeah, Ryan. I'm talking to CJ Marble live stream 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on the Cover One channel. I'm probably gonna make a post about it tonight or tomorrow. But yeah, talking to CJ Marble. He's a great dude and really good player. I think he's gonna be a good day 3 type guy. I'm getting
our guy. Or Farquaad getting divorced.
Farquaad's great.
Oh my god. One Marble on the Texans. That'll be interesting.
Then you gotta check out the interview. I'll ask him about. You can ask him about the Texans. We'll have comments on. You can ask him.
Exactly. Oh, it's gonna be live, right?
It's gonna be live. We're gonna go
check it out, Ryan.
Bill O'Reilly. We're gonna do it live. We're gonna.
That would be really fun.
You get that reference, right? The Bill O'Reilly do it live.
I don't.
Oh, guys, you have to. Dude, it's one of the best memes out there. So Fox News Bill O'Reilly once got so upset about some script thing, and he was like, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it live. Do it live." And great, you gotta check it out.
I will. I have to check it out. Okay, cornerbacks. I want to talk about cornerbacks, and then stop taking up so much of your dang time. But with cornerbacks, there's a guy, Keith Taylor. I know you like him a lot out of Washington, and especially I haven't watched his tape before, but with the Senior Bowl, he definitely really caught my eye, and I'm gonna have to go back and hopefully find some tape on him. I can't even find any tape on him, but he fits, I think, what we've been talking about with that cover 2 corner, his size, his length. He showed at the Senior Bowl, he showed a really good ability to turn his head and play the ball downfield. So I think that really excited me as well. I don't know how great of he is as a tackler. The little that I have seen, it's all right, but it's definitely not what you're talking about, where you want it to be a strength. But sell us on Keith Taylor out of Washington.
Yeah. So I think when you look at someone like Keith Taylor, you're looking at the upside and looking at what he can do. And that's a big thing with scouting for me. Is obviously you don't want to ignore flaws or issues, but it's more of what they can do, not what they can't do. And what I think you can do with Keith Taylor is you get a really fluid, long athlete who can be physical at the line of scrimmage, knows how to get his head around, understands route concepts, does a lot of good things at the corner spot. And I actually think, to me, he's kind of like a poor man's Ahkello Witherspoon coming out.
Yeah, I see that.
I don't think he's as freaky of an athlete as Witherspoon was. I mean, Witherspoon was like an absolute freak, and Witherspoon also had that soccer background where his feet were just so smooth and you could see it. I don't think Keith Taylor's that smooth or that lengthy even. He actually had arms come under 32 inches, which is weird for his size. Typically, if you're over 6 foot, you can see guys over 32, and that's why you look at the height thing. But he's got kind of tiny arms for it. But I think there are some prevailing issues that you have to look at with him. But overall, I do like him because of that upside, because of what he can do. So like day 3 or even late day 2, if you have enough picks on day 2, I think that's fine. But the issues with tackling are certainly there. He's not a good wrap-up tackler. He was a former receiver, so he's still kind of learning that way. He flies to the ball and he wants to hit. He just doesn't wrap up whatsoever. Like where Witherspoon coming out just didn't really have the desire to.
That's the thing. As long as you have the willingness,
and
you can learn that technique, and I see that with him. I see him. I think his best definitely fit is more in that zone scheme, 2, 3, 4. He can probably do all that, but
Yeah. The other issue though is very little ball production in his career. Like I think
he
it's
didn't
like
have a pick, right?
I think he had one maybe, or no, I think he had 0 and only like 6 pass breakups.
Yeah.
So it's there are some concerns with him like that. Like I'm not saying I put everything in his stats, but why are you not getting pass breakups? Like so there are things with that, and when you see on film, you see that when he does get targeted, the ball is overthrown because he has good coverage. But there are other reasons, like he just misplays the ball and stuff. So there are some issues. I think he's more of a late day 2, early day 3 guy, but good athlete, good upside, knows how to get his head around, knows how to be physical. I like a lot of how he fits in this type of scheme. I'm interested in him for sure, and that I'm an asshole when I scout. So if I like a guy like that, then I'm.
It's hard to get you to be on Zach's good side if you're a prospect.
Kobe, first overall prospect. No, I was kidding. Jacoby Stevens. I love him.
Jacoby Stevens. Yeah, no, with Taylor, I think that was the interesting thing with me is you're right. He didn't have great ball production, like in terms of stats, in college. And I was wondering, like, is that just because teams are just avoiding him, that he's not even getting thrown at? Because then I saw at the Senior Bowl like you said, like he turned his head, he found the ball, he had, I think, like 3 pass breakups in the actual game. It was crazy. So I don't know if that's something that he's improved at, or maybe he just didn't get to showcase it too much at college, but that's definitely a big factor with him. Hopefully it's something that he's improved on, because I think I would love him in the 3rd round. That's where the Texans have a first pick, 67th overall. I think that would be a solid range for him. Maybe a little bit.
Well, I think if you guys trade back a little bit in the 3rd, because you're almost
10 to like 15 picks, something like that.
Yeah, and then I think that would be a great spot, around the 80s or something. Like, that would be a really nice spot to go after him.
Definitely. All right. Who else I want to talk about? There's a running back that I love in this class by the name of Jarrett Patterson.
Oh, okay.
Have you watched Jarrett Patterson from Buffalo?
I haven't watched him yet.
When you get to him,
like me, we're trashing him earlier, but they're assholes too. So.
Really? Oh, I love what he does. I think, he's got all the athletic tools that you could want, and there's a lot of running backs like that in this class, but where he kind of elevates himself from the other guys, in my opinion, is just his ability to manipulate defenses. And that's something I've been really getting into with running backs is, obviously you need to be great athletes, but how you manipulate defenses, use your vision and to manipulate different gaps within the offensive play call, obviously that is so important at finding success at the next level, because then you're not so dependent on your offensive line.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what the thing with running backs right now is that, you don't want to pay them big money. You also don't want to draft them super high, because their value is just so tied to their situation, to their offensive line, to their scheme. And so a guy like Jarrett Patterson is someone who he doesn't necessarily need a great offensive line to support him. And I think that's a guy like Chuba Hubbard in this class. I think he's one of those types of guys who he would need a good offensive line to have success. I'm not saying he can't be a successful running back, but he does need more help there. And so I think Patterson is a guy that Texans could target, because we don't have the greatest run blocking, and he could still look like a very good running back. But are there any running back prospects that you love? I know you guys don't need any running backs. You probably haven't even looked at them too much.
About running backs. I love it. we got Jonathan Taylor, who's going to be around for a while. Nyheim Hines, which is great. Nyheim Hines is my crush right there. I love Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is so good. So they're good at running back. But like what you're saying though about running back, the ability to set up blocks. The biggest thing with that is blocking unblocked defenders is the biggest thing I've learned with running backs. Like there's a lot of situations where there's 2-on-1s, and there's a lot of situations where there are difficult blocks for linemen to make, especially reach blocks to the second level.
Yeah.
How are you able to get to that second level? Say you're a left guard climbing to a weak side linebacker, play side or something, or backside, whatever it is. You need help from the running back to set that up. So a running back can set up to the middle, bring that linebacker to the lineman, and that can create space. So
exactly.
So much of being a good running back is setting up blocks, and you'll see that from the best. I mean, Jonathan Taylor was a great example of the first half of the year he wasn't doing that. There was a lot of struggles with that stuff, and then as the year went on and as he got more comfortable in this system and with this line, he was setting up blocks like crazy. That's why he sets up one block, gets an unblocked defender blocked, and then puts those burners on. He's able to go, and you guys saw it firsthand in the second matchup. He was great. So yeah, you need a guy who can set up holes for himself and have good vision. That's what we mean when we talk about vision. It's not
Yeah.
just finding those holes; it's also setting up those holes. And it's something that can be developed, but to have it already coming out of college is huge.
Yeah, I think it's more so. I don't know. For me, in my opinion, I think it's like something that you can improve upon it with like film study and stuff like that. But I think when you see a running back have it out of college, like that is just like the number one trait that would be so attractive for me is that ability. And with Jonathan Taylor, you're talking about, because I know he was one of my draft crushes last year, and he's a lot of Texans fans. We wanted him at 40 so badly, and he was falling, and it hurt even more that you guys took him. My God, he's such a talented running back, man. Jesus.
So good. So good. So legitimately, I didn't love the pick because I wanted Jalen Johnson there.
Yeah.
I thought they needed more corner help because I didn't trust Rhodes too much, but it all kind of worked out. But yeah, Taylor's going to be good for a long time. I mean, it's a running back. It is what it is. Like, it's not the most high valued position, but yeah, him and Hines for a long time, because Hines last year went from a career 3.9 yards per carry guy to finishing last year with 4.8 yards per carry on runs.
Wow.
As the number one like change of pace guy, Jordan Wilkins kind of phased out down the stretch, and that's with Nyheim Hines stepping up. So yeah, those two are going to be dangerous for years, and I feel like the Colts are going to get an extension either this offseason or prior to next offseason for Hines, and they're going to be a great 1-2 punch for years.
That really is what you need, like the lightning and thunder kind of duo, right?
Yeah.
That is nice. It's so nice when you get a position set up and you just don't even have to worry about it. You don't got to scout for it. You just know running back set. Like for us, I guess that would be like offensive tackles. Like I'm not even looking at tackles in this next class, but I know that's a big need for you guys. But yeah, that is good to have your running back set. All right. What else was I want to talk about? Have you seen? Okay, wait, no. I just thought about something now. Okay, yeah, defensive end. Sorry. Defensive end. Are there any guys that you love in this class? I think one of my guys is Patrick Jones, but I'll get into him a little bit later. But is there any of your draft crushes at defensive end you think would be a good fit?
Oh yeah, Peyton Turner out of Houston is a great fit for this scheme. Absolutely great fit for the scheme. Super long, explosive, pretty bendy actually for a guy his size. And if you actually look at his length, it's absurd. I mean, I think his length was.
I'm gonna check it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to look it up, it can go up to like, I think his length is for someone who's like 7 feet or something. Like
what?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
So he's 6'5", 270. He's got 35-inch arms and 84-inch wingspan. That's what he measured in at the Senior Bowl.
Yep. And then another one who also is at the Senior Bowl, who you can look up for his wingspan too, is Jordan Smith from UAB. That is one of the draft crushes right there. I actually might end up having a first grade on him. I really, really, really like him. Like, it's not very often that you get a 6'7". I think he's like 6'7", 240 or something, 250. But he can bend too at 6'7". So I'm a huge fan of his game too, and I think both fit this type of scheme really well.
Yeah, I'm trying to find his measurements right now.
I think he got his measurements at the Senior Bowl, but I'm not sure. Yeah, 84 inches is insane, Yoshi. Like Peyton Turner is a freak, and so I mean, I think Smith is around the same too.
I haven't been able to see any. He's out of UAB, right? I haven't been able to find anything on him.
He's a blast. I'm telling you, he can bend for 6'7", and it's insane that he can do that.
When I'm scouting, so defensive end is my favorite position to scout, and when you see these freaky athletes that are that big, like you said, able to bend and get low and get to the quarterback, that's just such like it's a necessity that you need to have it at the next level. I feel like, and so I gotta get in on that Jordan Smith hype train. I gotta watch him.
Jordan Smith, and then another one that's kind of a little bit higher up as well is Ronnie Perkins from Oklahoma. Not super bendy, but he's got those long arms. He's got a good punch. Dominated Tevin Jenkins of all people against Oklahoma State this year. And Tevin Jenkins is one of my draft crushes too. So Ronnie Perkins is fun. He's a blast as well. There's a lot of fun edges in this class, like Patrick Jones, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
I think he's a little too inconsistent for me to love him, but when those flashes he has, like holy shit.
Oh my God. Some of his flashes, they are like first round type of talents. Am I wrong to see a little bit of Jadeveon Clowney in him?
No, I think
like
that's
obviously,
fine.
right? Obviously you got the dreadlocks, but like his actual play on the field, I mean, his great burst off the snap, he's that kind of big. He's big, lanky like him. And his athleticism is just like you said. Like there's a lot of guys in this class that have all those tools, but they're just a little bit more inconsistent, need more coaching. So I think a guy like Patrick Jones in mid third, maybe early fourth would be a great pickup and developing because he's got all the tools you could want. He reminds me so much of Clowney. I think he had a sack in the Senior Bowl on Clowney's like signature move, just on an inside move, inside arm over. Jesus Christ, I can't speak. But yeah, so he just reminds me so much of Clowney, and I want that back on my team, man. I want it. So I love Patrick Jones.
Ryan asked there about the Hula Bowl. So I have been I didn't watch the Hula, Tropical, or CGS games this year, but I have been kind of getting clips from them and stuff. I've had agents talking to me and stuff. I've talked to a couple of the players that have played in those games. I think Brady Davis played in the Hula Bowl. I want to say Brady Davis did, but I'm not too sure. I talked to him, and I think Jeremiah Hadel, the Texas State kid, played in there. So I have watched some of that stuff. Not many of those guys make it in the league, but you'll find a couple gems every single year from CGS and Hula and Tropical Bowl. So they're definitely games to watch. I mean, I think a notable one's that Deontay Harris kid from Assumption goes to the Saints, one of the top punt returners and kick returners in football, gets on the field and plays some receiver this year and has some good games too. And you find guys like that because of the Tropical Bowl and Hula Bowl and CGS. And I think that's where Harris was found because, I mean, not many people know of Assumption. I mean, he was a stud there, but, that's kind of, that's
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Oh, the Hula Bowl or Assumption?
Assumption.
Oh, okay. I was about to say the Hula Bowl's fun. They do a good job. CGS does too. Yeah, Naquan Jones. I like Naquan Jones. Oh, Imitor Bebe was at the Hula Bowl as well this year. Josh Imitor Bebe.
That's gotta be one of the best names.
He had a brother that played at USC that was a tight end too, named something Imitor Baby as well. It's not spelled the way you think either. It's like BHE is how it ends. So that the Bebe is BHE at the end. But Josh Imitor Bebe is a freak athlete for his size, and yeah, he's gonna go higher than I think people think as well. So Hula Bowl has some fun ones every single year. I think the Memphis quarterback was there too. He was fun. What's his name? I can't remember his name right now.
Yeah, I haven't watched a lot of those.
Too many guys.
Those later prospects.
Yeah, like
so
I
many,
watch them as the agents, and agents send me their list of players, and I'll watch bits of each one. I will say one guy from those games is Jeremiah Hadel out of Texas State. Really good kick returner and punt return type guy. I think he's going to make it early on as that, but he could be a little bit more. So keep an eye on him. I don't think he's Deontay Harris, but he could be close to that.
You know about Hewitt, the DT from VTech?
Oh, I'm a VTech fan. I live in the area here. I live in Virginia, so I'm a VTech fan. Yeah, I know all the VT kids. Diablo, Hewitt, Ashby is in this class too, which I really like Ashby. Really like Herbert on offense, Khalil Herbert and Darrisaw. Lecitus Smith was going to be in this class, left guard, but he's going to stick at VT a little bit. I really like Lecitus, but VT's got some talent. It's just they don't have coaches there.
Yeah. Tell me about it's Divine. I don't know, Divine Diablo. That's
Diablo Divine. That's the
Divine.
Cool name, right? Diablo.
It's a cool name. I like it. I just want to draft him off that. But I've heard a lot of people talk him up as he played safety for VTech, correct? And I think he might be better. I've heard some people say he's better more of as a will linebacker, kind of that money backer type. You think that'd be a good
Yeah, he's like 6'4", like 220. Like he's built too, and he can move. So yeah, I think as that kind of will money star position, I think he can be a pretty good fit there.
Yeah, I think there's a few safeties like that in the class. Like one of my crushes, Hamza Nasruddin from FSU.
Yeah.
He's like 6'3", 6'4".
Of that, yeah.
He's like you're gonna get him in the third round. You can get Diablo maybe like fifth, sixth.
Yeah.
But same type of player. So hopefully, I really want the Texans to go get one of those types of guys. But
yeah, what Chris Bauer is good at, and hopefully not hopefully, but for the people sake of you guys listening,
hopefully for us,
you have to draft these niche players. Like Ballard's good at getting. He's taken Jordan Glasgow in the 6th round with no intention to ever play him on defense, but he's pure special teams. That's a niche that guy play. Guys like Matthew Adams was taken in the 7th round, and he was drafted to be like a Sam backer or a depth Sam player. That was a niche that he was drafted to play. You have to take those niche players in the draft.
I'm glad you do.
Yeah,
no one else does.
But niche players are huge, and that's big.
Yeah.
So like if you take a guy in the 4th or 5th round, you don't have to take them with the intention of, this guy's going to be my starting corner for forever, like that. You don't have to take that. But if you take it with the idea of like, this can be a spot starting nickel corner or a spot starting safety or a third safety, because those positions do play as well. So you have to take those niche spots and build up those niche spots so you have depth at position. So that's what day 3 is for, and guys like Diablo are going to be great at that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I think with the Texans, I know it sucks we don't have a 1st round, 2nd round pick, but we do still have 8 picks in the draft. So you can still get some quality role players. Like maybe you're hoping for one starter with that 3rd round pick, hopefully. But you can still add value in those mid rounds, definitely. And hopefully, like you said, the kind of like, I just want to see our GM and head coach kind of have that shared vision where you can kind of see that they're drafting the same type of players that the coach knows how to put into the scheme and play to their strengths. Because I think that's something the Colts do really well, and that's something that we need to learn from with Ballard and Eberflus. They're on the same page, and hopefully Nick Casserole and David Cooley and Lovie Smith can get on that same track. I hope so, man.
I feel like Casserole is with the scheme for that. I just don't know about Joke is called Joke for a reason. I mean,
Joke is
I
wouldn't be surprised if he's new owner and by next year, man. He's going to talk Cal then.
So I live in Virginia. I grew up a Washington fan. It reminds me of Bruce Allen with Washington for all those years.
Oh, Lord.
Except it's worse.
Yeah, it's way worse.
Allen was a drunken idiot. Yeah. Like, I covered that team up close for 2 years. Like, he was a drunken idiot. Like, he had no manipulation. He had no power, like need for power or anything like that. He was just an idiot. Yeah. And he just had Dan Snyder manipulate because Snyder's an idiot. Where Easterby is this like mastermind, man. Like
he's mastermind. He's hungry for power. Like he's actually good at what he does. Like at amassing power.
Like, he's great. Like he's great at what he does. He's awful, but he's great. Like he is an evangelical, just like drunk madman for power. Like, and he's gonna get it. Like honestly, I feel like it's closer to him being the owner than him being out of the organization.
Oh, it absolutely 100% is. And Beige is right that there's rumors going out there that Cal he has a bit of a drinking issue. Cal McNair is our owner, and he's a bit of a drinking issue.
With his issue, yeah,
exactly. That's why Easterby has been kept here to kind of talk him through it and help him through it. But I mean, you're absolutely right that he's closer to being the owner because he's basically the owner. He's the shadow. He's the puppet master, making all the moves behind the scenes, right? So he's definitely closer to that than being.
He's Littlefinger, man.
Exactly.
If you guys know Game of Thrones, he's Littlefinger.
He's literally Littlefinger. Oh my god. I even like to think of him as Ramsey, Bolton Ramsey.
He's both. He's combined.
He bolts because he's like malicious with it too. Like what you said, like Cal McNair, he's just incompetent and like a drunk fool, right? Like, but he doesn't know any better. He was kind of thrown into this role, and he just doesn't really have the knowledge to run a team that well. But with Joke, he's actually just like a bad person. So it's very easy to hate him.
It's gonna get to the point where, because again, Washington fan growing up, it's gonna get to the point where when a story like the cheerleader thing came out with Washington or with the female sex abuse, obviously you're not happy that stuff happened.
No.
But you're like hoping that this is what gets rid of them.
Oh, like definitely.
Like you're kind of like, oh shit, finally they exposed them and get rid of them. Like
you're
not pissed at your organization. You're not upset that this is happening to your organization. You're like, good, take away all of our first round picks even if you have to. Just get rid of him. Like he was that bad for that organization. And Easterby is worse.
It's crazy. The thing that he's gotten away with.
Like, did you guys see Chris Shepard was our guy on the ground this year at the Senior Bowl. I wasn't able to go down this year. He overheard agents talking about Easterby. And did you hear about him like stalking some player or like texting the crap out of some player on our site on Stampede?
Yeah, I did see that. See that. That is crazy. And so there's stalking allegations, and apparently the player is Kenny Stills that actually felt that he was.
You got cut, right? Got released.
Yeah, exactly. He got cut.
There's so much. And you know what's funny is whenever there's a lot of things released, that's just the surface level. There's so much more going on. Like
the tip of the iceberg.
And it's horrible to say this too. Like with Washington's thing with the female reporters and female people getting getting treated like that. It was awful, terrible. Everyone in that organization got fired from it.
Yeah.
That was probably still the tip of the iceberg, and they got rid of like 3 high up officials, who were accused. Like that was the tip of the iceberg. Allen and Snyder got protected in that, even though they hit it, and it just makes me think with Easterby, like how much of this is being hidden from us, and we know so much. We know so much already.
Or that's the crazy thing. We've never known this much about what's gone on behind the scenes. We've never known. And yet there's still it's still not even like half of the stories that are probably out there. It's probably only like 20% of it. So the fact that he has gotten away with that much, man, it is insane. I'm glad you don't have an Easterby.
Yeah, I'm telling you guys, come to Indy. We actually have a a former Green Beret, who is our character scout, and he actually goes to Mobile and he goes on these scouting missions or scouting trips or whatever, and he grills these guys on how good of people they really are as a Green Beret and stuff like that. And if he's their character guy, and if he judges that they're good people, he will give the vote. So they don't draft anyone unless they get the check from the Green Beret. So that's how strict we are about our great people. And you see guys like Kenny and Darius and all these guys, what they do. I mean, I'm not saying the players for the Texans are bad people. Like I've talked to a bunch of Texans players. I've talked to Coulter. I've talked to Amenahu, Grenard. I talked to at the Senior Bowl last year. I've talked to a bunch of your guys, but yeah, it's
that's crazy. It's
come to Indy, guys. Come follow Stampy Blue. Come become Indy fans.
Colts thoughts.
I
could never do it, Zach. No, don't do it to me.
It sounds good, Jonathan.
Can't go to the dark side.
Nyheim Hines. Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore's a blast.
I love Kenny Moore.
We got run the damn ball. Like we got all that stuff.
All right. Get out of here. But I think that's gonna do it. I mean, I think we could honestly talk for so long, and we'll have to do more videos in the future. But Colts thoughts, exactly.
Colts thoughts.
Oh my god! Oh my god! But okay, damn, it's been an hour 45. I want to say thank you one more time, Zach, for taking time out of your day. We'll have to do this again for sure. I love talking about it with you, and I feel a little limited talking about it. Like I want to just go on these long tangents with you, but I hated to cut you off before and try and get to my point. But thank you once again. We'll make more videos. Definitely check out all of Zach's stuff. Zach Hicks 2 on Twitter. You'll find a bunch of other stuff from there. His articles on Stampede Blue, podcast, Believe in Colts. I'm going to pronounce it wrong. Whatever. But there's links in the description. I'm sure y'all are going to hear a lot more from Zach soon. But yeah, this should be a regular pairing for videos. I love it. I would love to talk more.
Especially before Texans and Colts games this year.
That would be really fun. I want to get into doing that. Yeah,
definitely.
For sure. But all right. Thank you guys for coming to the stream. Hope everyone's okay with the power situation. Stay safe. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. Take care. Come back for more. And remember, the film don't lie.